Tonight's color guard is from the Illinois Army Melrose Park Recruiting Center. And now please stand, remove your hats and honor America with the presentation of our nation's flag. As part of the NFL's league-wide salute to service, performing tonight's national anthem are the Nightcaps from the United States Military Academy at West Point.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
national anthem on this rainy night on appropriately named Soldier Field on Veterans Day. Well, he's been doing his thing for 13 years in the middle of that Bear defense. He's Brian Urlacher, and he's with Michelle Tafoya.
Al, thank you very much. Brian, you and a number of veterans on this Bears defense have had great success over the years, but this season's group is on track to do some historic things. What is different about this year's defense?
Just explosive, taking the ball away a bunch and scoring with it when we get it. Don't get pressure on the quarterback all season long, stop the run, and make big plays.
You got a lot of wind and rain tonight. How is that going to help or hurt your defense?
Both teams have to deal with it, so it's not going to matter. The weather's not going to win the game for us. Making plays is.
Any adjustments, though?
No, just, got to be careful with the footing. That's it.
Brian, thank you very much. And it has been raining steadily for the past several hours here on this field, and the field has not been covered. It's expected to continue to rain throughout the rest of the game, and the wind has been gusting forcefully and unpredictably. And Al, the Texans are without two starters tonight. Nose tackle Sean Cody did not make the trip because of rib and lung injuries, and tight end Owen Daniels, who was a game-time decision, is inactive with a back injury.
And that's significant. Thank you, Michelle. Teams are 7-1. A lot of numbers to look at, obviously, here. The Texans, fewest turnovers in the league, 6 in 8 games. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Bears with 28 takeaways. That's 3.5 per game. The Texans have outscored their opponents by 100 points. That's the second largest differential in the league. And the Bears by 116 points, which is the largest differential in the league. And two prime Defensive Player of the Year candidates, J.J. Watt and Charles Tillman, in action tonight. The Bears won the toss, elected to defer, so they'll go on defense right away. Robbie Gould to kick off. It was 70 degrees mid-afternoon. Back deep is Keyshawn Martin, a rookie out of Michigan State. Right now it's in the mid-50s. It's expected to go into the upper 30s after midnight, so we will go in Chicago from summer to winter in about half a day. And looking at that radar, the rain will really start to come in as the kick is taken 2 yards into the end zone by Martin, and Martin will go down, and the ball will be loose, and the Chicago Bears might have another takeaway as they'll unpile. The ball is inside the 20-yard line, and there it is, another takeaway right off the bat. It took them all of 7 seconds.
Take a look and see if his knee hit the ground before the ball came out. Butt down, I think ball out, which means I think Houston is going to get this one back. Let's take a look one more time.
Right, they're going to have to challenge to get it. Zach Bowman forced the fumble, and Gary Kubiak will call Gene Steratore over. and he will have to challenge it because the ruling on the field was a fumble and a recovery by Chicago. Actually, it's a turnover. Since it is a turnover, it goes up to the booth. Gary ready with the flag, and then Steratore will send it up to the booth. All turnovers, as are all scoring plays, get to be reviewed.
It looks like a relatively easy overturn here. Clearly down. I don't think there's any question about it. But if you are the Houston Texans and on the first play of the game you fumble the football, something that has been in your brain all week long about, the Bears take it away and don't give it away and all that kind of stuff, and then the first play you lay it on the ground, it just adds another little thing to your mind.
Keyshawn Martin, a rookie out of Michigan State. Trindon Holiday had been their returner, but they let him go about a month ago. He went to Denver and scored an interesting touchdown today as he gave the ball up apparently just shy of the goal line, but they ruled it a touchdown anyway in Denver's game against Carolina. The way Lovey looked at it, he saw the replay and he knows that he's not going to get the ball. Turnover is reviewed upstairs, and it looked good for the moment, but he knows as well as anybody that Martin was down and the Texans offense is already out there, and they're huddling and they're ready to call a play from the 20-yard line. But they're thinking about guys like Charles Tillman all week and not thinking about the opening kickoff and giving the ball away. You're exactly right, Chris.
Yeah, Tillman's over on the sideline somewhere. You didn't have to think too much about him. But all week long in practice, even after the play was over, Gary Kubiak had his team run up behind people that had the ball, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, and punch at it.
After review, it has been determined that the run was down by contact prior to losing possession of the ball. It will be Houston's ball, 1st and 10 on the 18-yard line. The ball will be placed on the hash mark nearest the Chicago sideline. First down, Houston.
Pretty clear. And like in the old days, you'd have to challenge that. Now with the new rule, all scoring plays are reviewed, all turnovers, and that would count obviously as a turnover off the opening kickoff. It's an official review. Matt Schaub, as you can see, 3rd best since 2011, the beginning of last year, rating on the road with 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They spot the ball at the 18-yard line, and the first scrimmage play of the game for the Houston Texans is play action and a screen into traffic, and you've got 2 guys right there. Garrett Graham makes the catch. He was side by side with one of his offensive linemen. It's a short gain. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Just a little tight end screen out here, but Nick Roach looks like to be the one that's all over this, read it all the way and just made the play. The one thing that you'll see with the Chicago Bears defensively, they're not real complex, but what they do really well.
The running back is Foster. Bootleg. Schaub has a ton of time, going deep and incomplete. Leaping for it was Andre Johnson, covered by Charles Tillman. What a battle that's going to be tonight. 3rd and 9. Let's take a look at the Texans starters.
Matt Schaub, Virginia.
Arian Foster, University of Tennessee.
James Casey, Rice University.
Andre Johnson, the U.
Kevin Walter, Eastern Michigan.
Garrett Graham, Wisconsin.
Dwayne Brown, Hermitage High, Richmond, Virginia.
Wade Smith, Lake Collins Junior High, Dallas, Texas.
Chris Myers, Miami Palmetto Middle School.
Ben Jones, Georgia.
Derek Newton, Arkansas State.
Strength of that line on the left side. Jones is a rookie guard. Newton in his 2nd year, the right tackle. 3rd down and 9 from the 19-yard line, and they hand the ball off to Arian Foster. And Foster will take it to the 23-yard line, and that's all. 4th down and 5. Adonijah makes the tackle, and it's a 3 and out.
Doesn't this start to this game for the Texans remind you a little bit of the Green Bay Packer game? Remember, we came out, we were saying the same thing. They're going to run, and establish it. And they came out throwing the ball. Well, Matt Schaub on that 2nd down play had a guy wide open in the flat. Didn't take it, took the shot, and now they're punting.
Donnie Jones, the left-footed kicker. Devin Hester, one of the great return men of all time, backs up, takes him at the 25. And Hester out past the 40, tackled at the 45-yard line. A 20-yard return, tackled by Quentin Demps. And let's take a look at the Chicago offense.
Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt University.
Matt Forte, Tulane University.
Brandon Marshall, wide receiver, University, Central Florida.
Devin Hester, the U.
Earl Bennett, Vanderbilt.
Kellen Davis, Michigan State.
Jamarcus Webb, West Texas A&M.
Charlie Rochelle, Dominguez High School.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Lance Lewis, San Diego State.
Gabe Carimi, Wisconsin.
Carimi will have his hands full tonight against his former college teammate J.J. Watt, both going to Wisconsin. And that Chicago offensive line has been their biggest issue this season. Even though Forte, as a runner, is averaging 5 yards per carry, he's been particularly effective on outside runs. And Cutler will go to the air on first down. Flushed out, throws, and that's a loose ball and picked up by the Texans. That's Tim Dobbins coming up with it. He's inside the 40 and takes it all the way inside the Chicago 30-yard line. So the pass for Kellen Davis, and it would have been an 8 or 9 yard gain, and the Texans get the strip. Danielle Manning, the former Bear, is the guy who dislodges it.
Kellen Davis was just blocking on the play, snuck out late, and Danielle Manning said, I told you should have given me more money around here. He goes to the Texans, and what a shot to open this game. A little Bears treatment from the former Bears back to the Bear.
And how sweet that is for Manning, who played 5 years here. And they offered him a contract.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the Houston bench. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed at the end of the play. First down, Houston.
So they were so happy for Manning that they got a 15-yard penalty on the sideline.
I tell you, if you want to take the mantle of being the top team in the AFC, you have to come play physical football against a very physical Chicago Bears team, and that opening shot by Danielle Manning sent a message.
At the 43-yard line on first down, off a quick count, and that pass is caught by Andre Johnson. That's a first down. Let's take a look at the Chicago vaunted defense.
Israel Idonije, Manitoba.
Henry Mountain, Texas.
Stephen Paya, Oregon State University.
Julius Peppers, North Carolina. Nick Roach, Northwestern.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, Desert Swarm, Arizona. Tim Jennings, Georgia. Major Wright, the University of Florida.
Chris Conley, Cal. Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Tillman's had an off the charts here. You look at the linebackers, Urlacher and Briggs. Meanwhile, Jennings leads the league in interceptions with 6. On first down, off play action again. A lot of time when the pass is overthrown and incomplete, intended for Andre Johnson, who has been a Texan since he was drafted in the first round and 3rd overall back in 2003, the second year of the franchise.
Well, anytime you play against the Chicago Bears, you know that these linebackers, as great as they are, they want to play downhill fast, and you can go play action and throw it right behind them. That time the ball looked like it just slipped out of the hand of Matt Schaub.
Second down and 10. Foster looking for room to the outside. Around the corner he goes for about a 4-yard gain behind a block by Wade Smith, the left guard. Ball at the Chicago 29-yard line.
Well, one of the things on this stretch play that they run is they want to try and set a hard edge. They don't want Arian Foster getting to the outside. So you see Melton setting the edge. Foster goes inside of him and then back outside. The Chicago Bears defensively are going to try and shorten the field, box him in tonight with that strategy right there.
Foster in his 4th year, in his 2nd year, 2010, he led the league in rushing. 3rd and 7, blitz coming. Schaub steps away from it, then hits Johnson, and he gets tackled by Tillman, but not until a first down is picked up again by Johnson. So going his way tonight, Andre Johnson, no stranger to the Pro Bowl, in his 10th season.
Well, you're going to get this crossing route right across the field here, and Andre Johnson, you're starting to see over the past 3 weeks or so, he is feeling healthy again, and when Andre Johnson is fast, it's going to be very difficult for Charles Tillman to keep up with him. Tillman has him all night tonight.
From the 21-yard line. On first down. Looking for room. Foster bounces it to the outside. Johnson hasn't played all that much over the last couple of years. He's missed a lot of games, and Gary Kubiak was saying, hey, look, we just have to give him a playoff every now and then. So he takes his second playoff here.
Yeah, like the last 3 games, though, 25 catches, and he even admitted himself, he had a couple of knee procedures, groin issues this season. But it has just been one of those nights, and it's going to be one of those nights tonight if you play against Tillman all night. He's going to throw those right and left hooks and try and get that ball out. 4 times he did it last week.
4 forced fumbles in their win in Tennessee. Big hole. Foster will set up a first down and goal. Major Wright, the safety, makes the tackle. So Foster for a 13-yard gain at the Chicago 7 now. First and goal.
Chris Conti right here is going to try and come down here, and it's going to set the edge right here where they can get outside, and that creates the alley. A lot of times they want to bring their safeties down inside, and if they get caught up in the traffic, it creates some big gaps.
Johnson back in. He's wide to the right. Here's Foster, and he gets spilled after a gain of 1. Arian Foster played his college ball at Tennessee and was undrafted. Second down and goal.
Isn't it remarkable to think of a guy that's come into the National Football League and just torn it up? He just couldn't get anybody to draft him. He is a character too, boy. He is a guy that sort of a philosophy major, and what do you say in the huddle? Do you hear his opinions in the huddle? Said no, if he started on that, we'd get nothing but delayed game penalties.
Favorite philosopher, Descartes. Just for the record. Second and goal from the 6. And here goes Foster to the right side again. And another 1-yard pickup, setting up a third down and goal from the 5-yard line.
Corey Wooten this time going to be right here to set this edge this time. You can see what they're doing. As long as Foster has to cut inside that defensive end, the Bears feel like they have the advantage with Urlacher and Briggs coming from inside out.
Third and goal. 3 receivers bunched to the left, and then it's swung out to Foster, and they'll run him out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Tillman was there. So they had a first and goal at the 7-yard line, and now a 4th and goal at the 3, and then comes the field goal unit.
Yeah, one of the reasons that Charles Tillman is going to be considered not one of the defensive players of the year this year is that he can tackle. Not only, it's almost amazing, isn't it now when you watch him? It's like he sizes guys up and he still gets them on the ground, but he's able to like throw right and left hooks in there and knock that football out.
It's amazing. This will be a 20-yard field goal attempt for Shane Graham. And the Houston Texans take the early lead, cashing in on the turnover. First quarter in Chicago, it's 3-0 Texans. Sunday Night Football from Chicago, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. You can find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Windows 8, by Bank of America, and by Chevrolet from kickoff to the last yard. Chevy runs deep. The scenics of Soldier Field, dedicated to the men and women of the armed services. Mentioned 86 years ago, the Bears played their first game here tonight, the 327th regular season NFL game at Soldier Field, which was refurbished about a decade ago. But you think of the Chicago Bears, they still have played more games at Wrigley Field, the home of the Cubs, than here. And this is a bouncing kickoff to keep it away from Hester. Fielded up at the 24-yard line. Kyle Adams, one of the Chicago tight ends, is run out of bounds. And so the Bears come back out of the field, trailing by a field goal. Well, check it out. Log on to NBCSports.com, SNF Extra. A lot of goodies. You can see what the screen looks like. Mike Florio chatting, Michelle Tafoya as well. And tonight, social media analysis with Jarrett Payton, the son of the late great Walter Payton. Jarrett himself, a guy who played in the NFL for part of the 2005 season with the Tennessee Titans. Sunday Night Football Extra. All right, now on first down, they hand the ball off to Matt Forte, and there's nothing happening there over the left side. Tackled by Brady James. So Cutler comes here in 09 in the deal with Denver. The town is over the moon about it. So he's now in his 50th start with the Bears, 31-18. And if he can stay here for a number of years, he figures to eclipse a lot of marks that have been held for a long, long while by people like Sid Luckman, going back a long time. And if Brandon Marshall can stay here for a while, he too will write his name into the Bears record books. 2nd down and 8 from the 39-yard line. And off play action. Cutler throws to the outside, and that is caught by Earl Bennett, with whom Cutler played at Vanderbilt. So the two hook up here for a first down.
Well, now the Bears giving the Texans a little bootleg action of their own. And one of the things that the Texans were worried about is that Jay Cutler has the ability to move around a little bit. Aaron Rodgers, in the only defeat the Texans have had this year, got burned several times by Aaron Rodgers' mobility. And they know Jay Cutler has the ability to do much of the same kind of stuff.
Tonight, Rodgers threw 6 touchdown passes a month ago on Sunday Night Football at Reliant Stadium. And there goes Forte for a gain of 3. Let's take a look at that Houston defense.
J.J. Watt, Wisconsin.
Earl Mitchell, Arizona.
Antonio Smith, Shaolin Temple.
Brooks Reed, University of Arizona.
Tim Dobbins, Glencliff High School.
Brady James, LSU.
Connor Barwin, University of Cincinnati.
Kareem Jackson, University of Alabama.
Danielle Manning, Abilene Christian University.
Glover Quinn, North Pike High School.
J. Joe, Rock Hill.
Jonathan Joseph, one of the best in the league, and that's a defense guided by Wade Phillips in his 2nd year as the defensive coordinator, and a tremendous turnaround for the Houston defense last year in this. 2nd and 8, and Cutler will take off, and Jay will get taken down very close to a first down. J.J. Watt and Reed are both there, and they'll spot the ball just a little short of the first down.
Well, one of the big questions is going to be the play of Gabe Karimi. Honestly, last week he played one of the worst games I've seen, and this one he gets knocked over. He did get tripped up on that play by his own man. But for Jay Cutler, again, here comes the mobility. And Jay Cutler has started pretty slowly in the first quarter. Just a 38 quarterback rating in the first quarter. It gets progressively better as he goes throughout the game.
He's the worst in the league in the first quarter and the best in the fourth. On 3rd and 1, the pass is caught by Hester, and that's a great tackle by Kareem Jackson, and that may be spotted just short of the first down. Kareem Jackson, 3rd year, he was the #1 pick out of Alabama in 2010, makes a great tackle, and Steratore is going to bring in the chain gang.
Kareem Jackson was one of those guys that got picked on a lot early on in his career on the other side of Jonathan Joseph. But who would have figured that Jackson could have made that tackle? Certainly not Jay Cutler. You get one of the best open field runners in all of football out in space, and he can't gain a yard to get that first down, or it didn't look like he did.
Well, Lovie Smith is going to have a pretty interesting call here early in the game. In what figures to be a defensive struggle, and the weather conditions will get worse as we go along. And he has the ball 4th and that much at the 42-yard line of the Texans. Of course, the crowd always wants the home coach to go for it. But as Marv Levy once said, you start listening to the crowd, pretty soon you're sitting with them.
It's an interesting decision here. This is the one thing that the Bears feel like that they have an advantage on in this game, is that they're bigger and stronger. They do feel like that while maybe the Texans have an advantage in a pass rush situations, Wade Phillips' bunch, the Bears feel like they are bigger, stronger, and can push them around, so probably played into this decision.
Well, we'll see if they do indeed snap it. Mike Tice is now the offensive coordinator, one-time head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, so he calls the plays. Let's see if indeed they do go for it and just trying to draw them offside. Got Evan Rodriguez at fullback, and Michael Bush is the running back. Marshall goes in motion, and they will run it. And this is Bush, who they picked up from Oakland, and he loses the ball after getting the first down, and nothing but white shirts surround it. And the Texans come up with it. Glover Quinn forced the fumble. Brady James comes away with it, and the Texans have taken the ball away again. 2 turnovers by the Bears. 3-0 Texans, and they have the ball. Well, the Bears create a lot of fumbles, but they don't fumble very often. You wouldn't know that from tonight's game, though. 4 through week 9, and then 2 tonight. They've lost every one of them. The last time, Houston cashed in for 3. Let's see what they do here. The ball at the 27 as they start this drive. Justin Forsett is the running back. Off the play fake. And Schaub gets out of the lead. No grounding once he's out of the pocket. Let's go to Michelle.
Al, rookie left end Shea McClellan out with a concussion for the Bears. He left the game in the first quarter early and went to be evaluated, and he is done for the night. Meanwhile, linebacker Tim Dobbins for Houston. He recovered that fumble earlier, and then he went to the locker room, and he hasn't come back out. He missed the last series, the defensive series for Houston. We have not been told why, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And that's very significant because Brian Cushing, their middle linebacker who got hurt, inside linebacker against the Jets over a month ago, his spot was taken by Dobbins. So Dobbins was a fill-in at that spot, and now we have to wonder about him. And on 2nd and 10, the pass is caught by Andre Johnson, who's now caught 3 passes already, and that will set up a 3rd down and 5.
Well, as soon as the Bears roll one of their safeties down, they know Tillman has Andre Johnson one-on-one. They've hit this one already a couple of times out there. You know eventually that's going to turn into a long one. With the way the wind is swirling around out here, long passes are going to be very difficult to complete, so expect Tillman to start sitting on that one.
3rd and 5, Foster back in the game. In the pocket, and the pass is caught, and Foster takes the ball to the 40-yard line. You have 2 of the best pass-catching running backs in the league playing tonight. Foster on one side and Forte on the other.
Julius Peppers is an absolute monster. You know where he is out here, working against an excellent tackle, and Dwayne Brown goes right through him that time. And the Texans would love to not have to help Dwayne Brown, but if he gets many more clean shots on Matt Schaub like that, they may have to adjust.
3:15 left in the quarter. On 1st down. Play action. Schaub backing all the way up, and then he just throws the pass incomplete. And who is he throwing it for? The crowd wants grounding. James Casey was the closest. He's the fullback, number 86. Territory says no grounding.
Well, they had the coverage down the field, but that was an attempt at a screen pass. And once again,
number 68 is eligible.
Just saying who's eligible. But once again, this is a well-coached Chicago Bears defense. If you're going to get a screen pass off, you're going to have to be pretty devious. They've been sitting all over those tonight.
And Jim Steratore did announce to the crowd that he was trying to get the ball to number 86. 2nd down and 10. Foster now. And he can barely get out of the backfield. The Texans love to run outside. Bears do too with Forte. Since 2009, 61% of their runs have been outside the tackles. That's the highest percentage in the league, and they average 0.7 of a yard more on those outside runs than all others.
Bears know that too, and they've been setting that edge pretty hard on every one of those stretch plays, and so far the only thing really working for Matt Schaub, it seems like, is he's been throwing it probably more than they wanted to tonight.
Raining harder, and it will increase as the night goes on. 3rd and 10, and that is picked off. Tim Jennings at 7. He leads the league in interceptions, and Jennings will be down back where he made the interception, so that run back will not count. Pass intended for Keyshawn Martin, but they're going to spot the ball. He was down back at the Houston 45-yard line. But 7 picks now for Jennings. On a rainy night, a lot of turnovers already. Chicago with the ball, down 3-7.
Well, Keyshawn Martin's just going to slip and fall, and for Tim Jennings, interception number 7 was probably the easiest. You could see the down by contact, though, as he tripped over his leg.
So they start at the 45-yard line. Cutler will go to the air. And off his back foot, he throws, and that is caught at the 31-yard line by Brandon Marshall. He got position on Jonathan Joseph, and picks up the first down.
That was awesome. I mean, to tell you, that's NFL football right there. Brandon Marshall, the outside receiver. Watch this. He slips, falls. He's just going to take rebound position. Knew he had to hold off Jonathan Joseph and just caught it with one arm. And Jay Cutler just floated that thing out there like he had total faith in his guy to make a play. And by golly, he did. That was brilliant.
At the 31-yard line, that's a gain of 14. That's Chicago's second first down of the game. 1:40 to go in the quarter. Forte, fifth year with the team, to the 29-yard line. Matt Forte with Tim Dobbins, as you saw back in the game, number 52. Forte picked in the second round, played his college ball at Tulane, and he's been a great asset for the Chicago Bears through the years. A lot of people around here wanted him to carry the ball more earlier in the season, but that ankle, Chris, was bothering him.
Yeah, and Mike Tice, the offensive coordinator, saying I was taking a lot of heat, but there was just no way, with the way he was feeling, I could afford to give him the ball that much. But now they say he's 100% healthy and a major factor.
Averaging 5 yards a carry, as I mentioned before. Great at catching the ball. The backfield here is empty. Cutler out of the gun. Deep over the middle and intercepted at the 6-yard line. And Danielle Manning, oh my goodness, Danielle Manning had this game circled on his calendar because the Bears didn't make him the offer that he wanted 2 years ago. And what a quarter he has had. Forcing a turnover and now an interception. Well, Danielle Manning, the former Chicago Bear, spent his first 5 years here. A forced fumble earlier, and that led to the 3 points that are up on the board, and now the interception here. Third Chicago turnover already.
Watch Brady James, number 53, knock Kellen Davis off this route, and that's what set up the interception. Would you have had illegal contact? Possibly down the field, not called.
Justin Forsett is the running back here, and they give it to him. The backup to Foster. Gains 2. Stephen Pyatt making the tackle, and well, Manning has a lot of buddies on that Bear defense, and Urlacher says, hey, miss you, man.
This Bears defense probably has more fun than anybody. We were watching them the other day, and when they were on the bench, they were playing charades. You think of monsters and Midway and all that kind of stuff. Here they were doing sounds like, movie and all that kind of stuff. They do it every day.
Waning seconds of the period on 2nd and 9. And this is Arian Foster, who will end the quarter with a run out to the 28-yard line for a first down. Meanwhile, Chicago's 3 possessions in the quarter. Fumble, interception. End of 1, 3-0 Houston. And Sunday Night Football from Chicago resumes after these messages. Aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. Now that's virtual reality. Truth be told, we had to take that shot on Friday night when it was a beautiful night here in Chicago. But our plane has been grounded, and it's grounded because it's raining and it's windy, and we always tell the truth here.
Yeah, and you should hire vets. So how about all that?
Right. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya in Chicago, and this is Foster to the 29. We mentioned last week, Chris, that when we looked at the schedule and it came out, it was Houston against Chicago, and these teams almost never play each other. I mean, Houston's only been in the league since 2002, third meeting ever. We didn't know what we were going to get. Right. You didn't think you were going to get 2 teams that are 7-1.
No, you didn't, but it's been an impressive start, and I think mostly because of the play of these 2 defenses. Wade Phillips has done an unbelievable job, Rod Marinelli on the other side, and that's what this game is turning into already. You can already tell what we're going to have tonight.
Well, 4 turnovers in the game. 3 by Chicago. 2nd and 10. Bootleg off the play fake, and then the pass is intercepted. And this is Jennings again. 2 tonight, 8 for the season. He doesn't think he was down. He's still running around.
The officials aren't blowing any whistles either.
Any whistle either. He may be right. He may be right.
And then right before. There's an official on the sideline right here by the Bears bench who right before Jennings went in the end zone waved his hands over his head and then backed up out of bounds when Lovey or whoever it was started coming after him.
Well, again, it's a turnover, so it's automatically looked at upstairs to see if it's a turnover, to see if he was down. So no call was made. You didn't see any whistle being blown. The Bears are signaling that they've scored a touchdown. Steratore, of course, will hear from the guys upstairs because of the turnover. Off the field, he's saying.
Don't have to worry about who's in charge when Gene's out there.
After the interception, the play was blown dead when the runner was at the 30-yard line. It'll be Chicago's ball, 1st and 10 at the 30.
Well, blown dead without a signal by any of the officials.
Well, there was the official on that side of the field who was waving his hands over his head, calling for a timeout, but he didn't do it initially. I saw him do it right before Jennings went into the end zone. Was there any contact there? Boy, it would be hard to say. Be hard to overturn whatever it was that was called.
Well, there's a little contact there, but he runs into his own man, but Casey just got a piece of his foot, and that's why the play was ended right there.
You know, these two offenses at this point in the game have got to figure out, you know what, we can't lose the game. These conditions are such, you've got to let this defense play, and Lovie Smith's not buying it. He's saying, all right, hey, you made a mistake, we're going to live with it, but believe me, it was a mistake. That's exactly what he was telling Gene.
So Schaub throwing the pick. Here it is again. Casey will come in. There's Briggs, his own man, hitting him. And Casey just does get a little bit of him, and then Wright steps on him as well.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Casey...
So there'll be an official review if nothing else, but we think it'll stand. We think. Who knows? All right, they're looking at this because it's a turnover, as we say. So it's an official review. Down by contact. To me, the question is, when Gene Steratore came in, he said the play was whistle dead. If it was whistle dead, it's over, even though they're looking to see if Casey was touching at any point Jennings, and it appears he makes very slight contact with his hand and Jennings' foot. But if they rule this a touchdown, then Steratore either misspoke or they're screwing up something here, because if the whistle blew, the play is over.
And I guess Lovie has the right to have it reviewed because it's a turnover. I just don't know what exactly they would be reviewing. You know, it was one of those calls that they always sometimes will say the official should let it go and let it go to replay. Right. But because the call was made that way on the field, tough to overturn anyway.
Well, if you blow the whistle, the play is over.
Right.
After review, it has been determined that after the interception, the returner was down by contact at the 38-yard line. The ball will be placed at the 38-yard line on the hash mark nearest Chicago's bench. With the game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 14 minutes and 14 seconds. It will be Chicago's ball, 1st and 10.
That's all well and good. I mean, and it's a good thing for them that it turned out that way, or at least that's how they saw it. Because if he's, as Gene said, if they had blown the whistle, that play should have been dead at that point, period.
But for Tim Jennings, how about those numbers? 8 interceptions in 9 games now after having only 7 in his first 85 games. Remarkable. 2 already here tonight.
And he's not even in the player of the year, the defensive player of the year conversation, because Tillman is. And here goes Forte, and he keeps those legs chugging, backing up and picking up 4. Talked about Jay Cutler and the problems he's had early in games. 2 TDs, 4 picks, and the lowest rating in the league in the first quarter. And then he gets okay in the second and third quarters, and he is off the charts, figuratively, in the fourth quarter with the highest rating in the league. Second and 6. And Forte cooking and threading and forced out after a gain of 1 by Earl Mitchell.
Boy, J.J. Watt for the first time tonight dominated on that one. I think it was Lance Lewis he was going against right here. Watch him take Lewis and just drive him back into everybody. Just couldn't quite make the play. But so far tonight, the one thing that I have been noticing is that Gabe Carimi and Lance Lewis on the right side of this offensive line in run blocking and that double team block have been very, very effective so far, pushing the defensive tackles off the ball just like they thought they might.
Butler in the shotgun on 3rd down and 5. Jay going for the end zone, and Marshall can't handle it. Jonathan Joseph right there with him. And Brandon Marshall has had a tremendous first half of the season. Can't handle that one, 4th down.
And Jonathan Joseph's getting fed up. Watch Brandon Marshall here, just a little nudge. This is the second completion they almost had with that little push off. And I'm telling you, Al, so far tonight, I've seen holding, I've seen pushing off. These officials are letting these guys play out here in the rain. This is going to be an interesting game.
51-yard field goal attempt for Robbie Gould. Wind for the moment has died down. You can see the flags at the top of the uprights. And Robbie Gould with a screw ball. That's good. Started down the middle, went back toward the right upright, and the game is tied early in the second quarter at 3. Message from what would probably be the first family of football, Virginia McCaskey. Of course, George Halas, the founder of this franchise, coached the team for 40 years in 4 10-year increments. And our servicemen and women being honored all weekend.
That was lovely.
That was great.
I mean, that is the first lady of football right there, and that was lovely.
Here's Robbie Gould's kick. Keyshawn Martin from a yard in. And Martin, who fumbled on the opening kickoff, but he was down before he lost the ball. Hit by Kelvin Hayden. Defensive Players of the Year. Well, J.J. Watt is in the conversation. Obviously, the SWAT. He's deflected 10 passes, and 4 of those have resulted in interceptions. Also has 10.5 sacks along the way, which is great for a lineman, obviously. And Charles Tillman with the punch, those 4 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions for touchdowns, 7 forced fumbles. His counterpart Jennings with 2 picks already, first down from the 21-yard line. Schaub will start. Foster, gain of 7. All right, so the normal ball carrier, by the way, I never fumbled in my NFL career. Okay, the normal ball carrier carries the ball like this. Okay, so what does Tillman do?
So he says there's no way you can keep me from getting it out. So he'll punch down, he'll punch up if you're down low like that.
All right, now Coughlin, of course, Tom Coughlin told Tiki Barber high and tight, hold it here. Then what?
Now you're going with the hook. Huh? That's what he's doing. So, I mean, you know, this whole thing is really working to his favor. He's a master at it. He really is.
Second down and 4 with the ball at the 27-yard line. And a toss. Foster. A yard shy. It'll be 3rd and 1. Tackled by Briggs. Meanwhile, Tillman, a big story this week because his wife is now full term as of the weekend. They expect to induce the baby tomorrow, but Tillman said earlier in the week, hey, if that baby's coming on Sunday, I'm going to be at the hospital.
But she wanted to come to the game.
She's at the game tonight.
She's like, I'm not going to miss the game, you know. So you would imagine he probably has one eye on the stands tonight.
3rd and 1, and Foster breaks contact, and Foster picks up a first down as he's finally tackled by Tillman out past the 40-yard line at the 43.
One thing you'll notice whenever you watch the Texans play, some of these short yardage plays, they will go with a very quick count. The Bears weren't even in their stance yet. Schaub goes up, snaps the football. They gain the advantage, had the extra tight end on the outside, Ryan Harris, who knocked his guy down. Very clever play call.
Lovie Smith already his 9th season as the Bears head coach. Urlacher in his 13th season. Forsett. Tackled by Tim Jennings at the 48-yard line.
It was funny, even announcing the game, it's hard to tell, are they running the stretch play or are they running the bootleg pass? Watch the linemen. They all pull, it's the exact same play. Either they give it to Foster on the left, or they pull it out and run the bootleg. And you see all the defenders, they're all running with those offensive linemen down the field. And it is just a very difficult combination if the Texans can get that stretch play working.
Second down and 6 from the 47-yard line. And into the backfield, Adonijah, but he can't tackle him, but he can slow him up and hold him to a loss. At the 45-yard line, it'll be 3rd down and 8 after a loss of 2.
what's happening is the defensive ends of the Bears, this time Israel Adonijah, they're taking an inside route and beating the tackle. The tackle thinks they have to jump outside to run that stretch play, and the Bears are jumping in and still able to make the play on the outside, and that's been a big difference so far in this one.
3rd and 9 for Gary Kubiak's team. 9.5 left in the half in a 3-3 game that has already had 5 turnovers. And Sean sets up a little pass to Foster, but Foster has no blocking out in front. Conte and Briggs come in to make the tackle. It'll be 4th down.
One of the things that Matt Schaub understood coming into this game, he said, you end up 3rd and 9 against the Chicago Bears, you can almost forget about it because they're going to drop back, they're going to make you dump it off somewhere and come up and make a tackle, and the Chicago Bears don't miss many tackles.
Donnie Jones will punt. The left-footed kicker will send it Hester's way. You saw Hester with 12 punt return touchdowns with his career NFL record. And he's going to back up and let it go. It bounces at the 1 and just does go into the end zone. 8:44 to go in the opening half. Houston 3, Chicago 3 on Sunday Night Football. Columns of Soldier Field, they remain when they refurbished this. And they reopened it back in 2003 after shutting it down for a little while. But it's a stadium that when it opened used to hold at one point over 120,000, and now it's a little bit more than 60. Boy, there were some bad seats in here in the old days. Cutler will launch one on 1st down, going deep, and there's contact made, but it's incidental and incomplete. Kareem Jackson back there with Devin Hester as both go to the ground. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, no question about it. Kareem Jackson was going up for the ball here. There's no way this is pass interference on the play. Devin Hester, see him pushing and shoving. That's the way it's been going all night. Both of them just mistimed it. And now you've got right here, big JJ. Watch the pressure against his old Wisconsin teammate, Gabe Carimi. And Carimi got to get those arms out. Notice watching the tape last week, he didn't extend his arms. If you don't do it against JJ Watt, he's going to wear you out.
On 2nd and 10. Quick pass, and that is Marshall, and Marshall breaking tackles, but stopped at the 26-yard line. Tough sledding on this field. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Nice job by Jamarcus Webb getting Connor Barwin's hands down. He still almost got his hands back up to make this play. Thought we were going to have one of those J.J. Watt plays against the Bengals in the playoffs, but Brandon Marshall, that guy for Jay Cutler, you could just feel how much more at ease he is with Brandon Marshall around here, couldn't you? Good friends.
Well, it was a huge acquisition. They came up together, played their first 2 years in Denver, and Marshall went to Miami and comes back here. And Cutler loves it. 3rd down and 3, and Hester turns around, and all kinds of jumping up and down on the Houston bench looking for interference on Hester. Kareem Jackson covering on the play, no flag. 4th down.
There we go, outside. Let's take a look. I don't think that's pass interference either, right?
No.
They're just a little chicken fighting going. Well, he does kind of hook that bottom arm, but that kind of stuff just doesn't get called in this league. I think that's a good no call.
Man, so Gary Kubiak on the sideline hoping for the flag. Adam Podlesh will punt for the first time in the game. And Keyshawn Martin will bring it back as he comes up and says, I'm going to let it bounce. It's a bad kick that will bounce just inside the 40 and roll dead at the 33-yard line. Halfway through the 2nd quarter at Venerable Soldier Field in a 3-3 ball game. Back in 2006, Gary Kubiak took over. He's now in his 7th season. They've had only 2 coaches in the Texans history. Dom Capers when they were the expansion team in 2002. And then Gary came in, and Bob McNair has been deliberate, exercised a lot of patience, the owner of the team, and it's begun to pay off as the pass is incomplete, intended for Casey. It'll be second down. So Kubiak for years, Chris, as we all know, under Mike Shanahan in Denver, he was the backup to John Elway as a player, and then on Shanahan's staff for a long time.
Yeah, we asked him, did you ever try to get traded? Because he had to play behind John Elway, and he's like, heck no, I knew I couldn't play. I didn't want anybody else to know it. He is a very self-deprecating, good-humored kind of guy, and fits in beautifully with his thing.
A native Texan, played his college ball at Texas A&M. Second and 10, short three-step drop, and that catch, Andre Johnson, who has already now made 4 grabs in the game, and that one is good for 11 yards and a first down.
Yeah, he's going to end up right between Tillman and Urlacher, a place most people wouldn't want to be, and he holds on to the football. That's pretty good stuff. Andre Johnson, though, you look at what he's done throughout his career, yards per game, receptions per game. He's second on both those lists. He's been a tremendous player because the Texans haven't been in the playoffs very much. Not many people know him.
From the 45 to the outside, Foster. And he gets away from Roach. And he's forced out of bounds as he crosses the 50-yard line. It'll be a gain of 7. It'll be second down and 3.
You know, they're trying to switch off on the outside, so they're bringing the defensive ends inside and the linebackers bouncing around, and it's supposed to be Nick Roach this time with the contain, but he doesn't get there. He doesn't get as far enough outside. You forget Arian Foster's a big guy. You know, he kind of looks like Marcus Allen to me sometimes running the football, but he weighs about 230 pounds.
Second and 4 at the 49-yard line. Foster cuts it back inside the 40 in a big game, and Foster closing in on 100 yards and a half behind a James Casey block. Goes for 22 yards, and on 14 carries, Foster has already gained 91 yards tonight.
Once again, this down inside stunt, and Dwayne Brown's going to just drive him inside, and that allows James Casey to come around and seal that corner. So right now, the Texans are making the adjustment. Let's see if the Chicago Bears now go back to the old way of doing this with the end on contain, because the Texans are taking advantage.
Foster out and Forsett in. The regular backup, Ben Tate, inactive tonight. Here's Forsett. He cuts it back inside the 20, inside the 10, and tackled by Chris Conte to save a touchdown. But it's going to be first down and goal for Houston.
It's exactly what they did. They adjusted that time. The defensive end went outside, tackle went outside, and Forsett just rips it up inside. That's what makes this play so tough to defend. About the time you think you know what you're doing with it, the Texans make an adjustment and they hit a big play on you.
And that's the good side of that line with Dwayne Brown and Wade Smith in the center, Chris Myers. Foster back in. First and goal from the 3. 5 minutes to the half. Foster, and he'll get taken down at the 2. One thing the Texans are terrific at, time of possession. They lead the league in that, and you look at it right now, they have had the ball for over 17 minutes. The Bears have had the ball less than 8.
You know, and it's a big reason why they've had the kind of leads that they've had. You know, they've been in the lead almost 70% of the time so far this season, and they do it with this grind-it-out kind of play.
Second in points per game. They have it second and goal at the 2-yard line. Rolling right and throwing, and it is caught for a touchdown by Foster. Lance Briggs covering on the play. Foster puts it into the end zone, and the first touchdown of the game belongs to the Texans. And of course, they'll take a look at this upstairs. It is a scoring play to make sure he came in inbounds. Here it is.
See if he catches it first of all. Does he hold on? Does he run? Does he move? None of that stuff. Looks like it's a good one.
Well, if you get to the goal line, that's the end zone. So that part of it is a touchdown. The question is, did the ground help him control it? So that's what they're looking at upstairs. Left arm, it can touch the ground, but if the ground helps you control the ball,
I don't see anything. I think that's a touchdown. He lands right on the goal line.
Right.
That is, I tell you, the coverage on that play by Lance Briggs was absolutely perfect. I can't believe job he even got that ball in there. There was about a 3-inch window for that throw, and he made it.
Touchdown confirmed. Shane Graham for the point after, with Donnie Jones to hold it. And with 4:14 left in the opening half, the Texans and the Bears in the battle of teams that are 7-1 lead by 7. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Subway Restaurants. Our deliciously melty, fresh toasted steak melts are here. By Nissan, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation that excites. By DirecTV, don't just watch TV, DirecTV. And by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans, here we go. And some scenes last night, the 2nd Battalion, 24th Marine Regiment celebrated the 237th birthday of the Marine Corps in nearby Wheeling, Illinois. And there are some of our guys in Afghanistan where it's a little bit after breakfast. And here is a kick that J.T. Thomas covers up for Chicago. So
it was just a squib kick.
A little squib kick that looked like an onside kick. But he was just trying to squib it and keep it away from Hester.
Somehow J.T. Thomas has this thing hit him in the gut and he catches it. That's a pretty remarkable play for a defensive lineman, and is going to give the Bears great field position. They weren't trying to onside kick or anything. J.T. just made a catch.
And that gives the Bears great field position at the 49-yard line with 4:12 to go in the half. Forte crossing midfield, and then gang tackle led by Earl Mitchell, taking the spot of the injured Sean Cody at nose tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, the big difference for me so far in this ball game is then that Arian Foster now has 15 rushes for 91 yards, and Matt Forte has 6 rushes for about 11 or 12 yards, depending on what he gained on that one. And the Bears are going to have a tough time winning this game if they don't start running it better than that.
6 carries, 12 yards for him. There's Forte, swings to the outside, and a great tackle is made there by Connor Barwin. Outside backer, stopping him at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Connor Barwin that time kept the edge, barely working over here on the outside, working against Matt Spaeth. Almost, you're seeing a lot of guys on the edge, a little grab here, a little grab there, but Barwin, who led this team in sacks a season ago, came off and made the play.
The numbers right there. Houston with a big advantage in yardage. The Bears have only 2 first downs in the half. Texans have 10. 3rd and 9. Cutler's going to step up, and he completes the pass, but he was across the line of scrimmage, so forget all of this. There's a flag down. Hester takes it to the 5, but Cutler came across the line of scrimmage. He was inside the 49-yard line. The flag came right out as he threw it. And as they'll take a look at the replay, if any part of your body, even the back of your heel, is on the line of scrimmage, that's not official, of course, the red line. But if any part of the body is behind the line as he throws the ball, when does it come out? This is pretty close.
I think that is a legal pass.
Well, they're going to take a look at this, obviously.
Remember, it's not the ball. Jay Cutler took a big shot at the end of that play, too, and he was very slow to get up. But I think that was a legal pass if our line is correct.
Well, Tim Dobbins was the guy who made the contact. Here's Steratore making the call.
All right, we're going to look at the sticks on the far side, right over here. It looks like it's about a yard. I tell you what.
Fouls by both teams on the play. It's a legal forward pass. Number 6 of the offense with a forward pass beyond the line of scrimmage. There's also a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, for a hit above the quarterback's shoulders. Those penalties will offset. The illegal forward pass is not a simple foul. The penalties will offset and play 3rd down.
Well, it's an illegal forward pass, but was it?
Yeah, that whole thing could get flipped upside down here.
Yeah, and the crowd now sees this, and they're going, wait a minute.
And it's clearly an illegal hit. A hit above the head, but remember, if that back foot is behind the line, it doesn't matter where the ball is, it is the point of the body of the quarterback, of the passer that is farthest back, and if that back foot is behind that line, that would be legal.
Exactly. You saw both flags coming in, one for illegal pass, the other for the contact on Dobbins, and so we go back to a 3rd and 9 from the 49-yard line. Texan defense has been tremendous on 3rd down.
Well, I was kind of waiting for this challenge.
Yeah, you've got Lovie Smith coming in and saying, wait a second, we want you to take a peek at this.
The ruling of an illegal forward pass from beyond the line of scrimmage.
Exactly. I mean, Lovie had to get the word from upstairs. It's worth a challenge. And so if he wins this challenge with the defensive foul, the pass would count, and Chicago's going to wind up with a 1st down and goal.
Yeah, and you tack it on then, right? So you would end up, this is a huge call.
It's the down marker that's official.
Right
we showed you that red line.
So
there it is.
Wherever it is, this line is coming right across there. So if that foot, that farthest foot back, is behind or on that line, then this play is legal.
And that's what Steratore has to look at. Forget the red line.
And forget the ball. The ball doesn't matter. It's that back foot.
It's when the ball comes out of his hand, at what point. And if any part of his foot, we had this similar play with Eli Manning in the game of Philadelphia a couple of years ago.
One of the interesting things, does that foot come off the ground before the ball is released? If the foot was on the ground, I think it was on that red line and would be legal. Now the question comes in, how much of the technology can they use? The red line and all that kind of stuff? Or are they going to try and size it up with the down marker on the far side?
Steratore does not have the red line when he's looking at the monitor. Here comes the call.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner was beyond the line of scrimmage, therefore it was an illegal forward pass. Chicago will be charged with its 1st time out of the half. And Chicago now has 1 challenge remaining in the game.
Well,
can't use the red line.
Well, you can't use the red line, so he had to look at it. And it's one of those things where you call it one way on the field, and unless you see something to completely overturn it, I mean, it was close.
And confirmed was the language he used, which means clearly beyond that line.
On the snap from the charge timeout to Chicago. Please reset the play clock to 25. Here we go, Jay.
All right, so 2.5 to go in the half. Play clock will be wound down from 25.
And Jay's still shaking off the cobwebs there.
He is. That's the only good thing about that for him, is the challenge let him get his bearings back. 3rd and 9. And he sets up again. And this time he's going to run for the 1st down and takes another shot. Kareem Jackson belts him at the 39-yard line, but Cutler gets up quickly from that one. It's a gain of 12, 1st down.
He's officially a Bears quarterback. You go head first. He had to do it to pick up the 1st down. He just got ripped on the play before, and he dives forward and takes another shot. That's a Bears quarterback.
And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Bears on the move in Chicago, where Houston leads 10-3. So the halftime show coming your way. The Cowboys come from behind and they're sliding Philly. Great game in New Orleans today. Falcons fall for the 1st time this season. Saints win. Bob Costas, Hines Ward here to recap the opening half on the Toyota halftime show. Beautiful shot of Soldier Field. The columns, patriotic colors, Veterans Day.
Well, interesting. 2 of the better sacking teams in the league. No sacks so far in this game. Maybe the slow field is helping these offensive linemen.
2 minutes to the half. 1st down, ball at the 39-yard line. 3 receivers bunched to the right. And a swing pass to Forte, and he'll get upended as Jonathan Joseph comes up in the left corner to take him down near the line of scrimmage.
Well, you talk to the Chicago Bears and Brandon Marshall about Jonathan Joseph, and they think he is one of the top 3 cornerbacks in the league. He had a little bit of an injury, groin injury, earlier this year, had a couple of bad games back-to-back, but they say Joseph is fully healthy now, and he is the man tonight on Brandon Marshall.
5 years in Cincy, and then they picked him up as a free agent last year in Houston, 2nd and 10. And Cutler stepping away from the rush, and that is Kareem Jackson with the interception. And the Chicago Bears have just turned the ball over for the 4th time in the half. Cutler throwing his 2nd pick, and they've lost 2 fumbles to boot.
Duped him on this one. Came across in motion. It looked like it was going to be man coverage, but then Kareem Jackson fell off and made this play. When Kareem Jackson came all the way across the field with that motion, Jay Cutler read that as man-to-man. It would have been an easy completion. Never saw Kareem Jackson.
So 6 turnovers in the game, 4 by Chicago. They've gone half the season with 12, 1.5 a game, and now 4 in the first 30 minutes. From the 28, Shaw going to work, and that's Johnson, and the pass is incomplete. Couldn't hang on. Charles Tillman is right there. 2nd and 10. Rain coming and going.
Pretty good play by Charles Tillman. We talked about him punching the ball out. Watch him come around the backside here and knock that one free. This is a clever guy. The coaches that you talk to, Lovie Smith, he's the great master teaching these turnovers. He said, I have never, ever seen a guy more talented at punching the ball out.
Been doing it for 10 years. And going nowhere. Brian Urlacher making sure that Foster is dumped. The Bears have 2 timeouts, so they want to spend one here, and they will, because it's going to be 3rd down and 20. Timeout Chicago.
Julius Peppers blew this up, and then Brian Urlacher cleaned it up. Julius Peppers takes his guy straight back, got the pulling guard, got his tackle, and for Urlacher, all he had to do was just come in there and take care of business. Inside, pulled off the pulling center, trying to get around the outside. Nice play by Julius Peppers. One of the all-time leading sackers in the National Football League since he came in the league. Over 100 sacks. One of those players, when you talk to Lovie Smith, he said, I still can't believe we got Julius Peppers. I can't believe we got Jay Cutler. I can't believe we got Brandon Marshall. But we got all 3, and we're a heck of a team now because of it.
So Peppers came a couple of years ago, and Phil Emery is the new general manager. Bringing in Marshall, bringing in Jason Campbell as a backup quarterback. Bringing in Bush, 3rd and 19. And now Chicago will take another timeout. Arian Foster, short gain, 59 seconds. Chicago will go to work when they get the ball back without a timeout.
And now you got to decide. Do you kick it to that guy? Do you not? He had a 44-yard punt return last week in the game. Always dangerous, sitting just 1 away from tying the record of all-time returns.
Well, he had 11 of those touchdown returns in the first 2 years. Then he was blanked in 08 and 09. Then he had 6 and 10 and 11. Nothing so far this year.
I can tell you where I'd kick this ball. Out of bounds. If they can score, my defense has been playing great. The weather's awful. They're not giving Devin Hester a chance.
Jones, a high snap. He'll get it away. He'll angle it to the near side. It's a short kick, and it'll be fair caught at the 31-yard line by Hester. So 51 seconds, no timeouts. And a flag on the play.
Can't believe that. The Bears had the gunner double teamed, and the guy made him make a fair
During
catch.
the kick, holding number 37 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down, Chicago.
And that's Anthony Walters, and that's going to back him to the 21-yard line.
There we go. There's on that side. You grab the jersey. They don't miss it in this league. Then on this side, the escape. And it's going to force Devin Hester to make a fair catch. You've got a double team on one guy on the outside, and you can't hold him up. That's not good.
Cutler from the gun at the 21-yard line. And he's going to take off again. And Cutler with a big gain, sliding to a hold out past the 40-yard line. So that's a gain of 19 yards. They'll spot it at the 40. Clock running down. Crowd getting anxious. Wasting a lot of time here. They finally snap it at 27. And then over the middle, it's dropped. Kellen Davis. Bears have had a lot of problems at tight end. Davis has been in the crosshairs too because of blocking issues, and then he drops one here. He fumbled earlier. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, with some of the pass protection issues that Kellen Davis has had, and he had a rough day just like Gabe Carimi did the other day. You better hang on to the football if you're going to stay in the lineup. Of course, Greg Olsen no longer around.
Cutler has run for more yards than he's passed for. 37 to 36 in the half. 2nd and 10. Good protection, and then that is dropped. That's Matt Forte going deep downfield, and it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Well, I tell you, if this is a better throw, this might be a touchdown. Thrown behind Forte. He ran right by Glover Quinn, and there really was nobody in the middle of the field. The safeties had split wide. If that one gets caught in stride from Forte, it might have been a touchdown.
3rd and 10 is main man Marshall, bottom of the screen to the right. Joseph staying with him. The Cutler looks left and throws a very short pass to Devin Hester, and that's going to do nothing at all. Quentin Demps makes the tackle. And the Chicago Bears will just regroup, then go into the locker room. So the first half it featured 6 turnovers, 4 of them by Chicago. It's 10-3. Houston at the break. We'll have a halftime show coming up after these messages from your NBC station. Goodness, Daniel Manning had this game circled on his calendar.
Daniel Manning said, "I told you you should have given me more money around here."
And that is picked off. Tim Jennings. And this is Jennings again. 2 tonight, 8 for the season. And throwing, and it is caught for a touchdown by Foster. And on a rainy night in Chi-Town, it is 10-3 Houston at the break. And let's go right to Michelle.
Well, I just spoke to Lovie Smith coming out of the locker room at halftime, Al, and I asked him about Jay Cutler, who took a ferocious hit late in that first half. And I said, is Jay okay after that hit? And he said, no, he's not. He has not come out of the locker room, and he tells me Jason Campbell is going to go ahead and play. And now we're hearing that it is a concussion. That's the official diagnosis. Jay last had a concussion in the 2010 season. He said that was his first, and other reports say he had them in college. But for now, he's not on the field, and Jason Campbell will take over for starters, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And Campbell is a guy that they went after because last year, remember, they were done in after Cutler got hurt. He broke his thumb against San Diego. They were 7-3. Caleb Haney could not do the job. They finished 8-8, so they went out and they got Campbell, the one-time starter in Washington and Oakland. Now Hester will run the kickback and get tripped up at the 24-yard line, and so Campbell will come in. Jason Campbell is 30 years old. The Redskins drafted him in 05, and he was going to be, as everybody in Washington always is, the new quarterback, the new Sonny Jurgensen. He was there through 09. Then he was the Raiders quarterback, and he got hurt there and lost the job, and they made the trade for Carson Palmer. So he's on the market, and the Bears wind up with him, and here he goes in the second half. 70 career starts, so a ton of experience. Takes over at the 23-yard line. And they start conservatively with a nice gain this time by Forte for a gain of 7. First half numbers, Houston, a great rushing attack. The turnovers, of course, are huge, with Chicago coughing it up 4 times. But the rushing game, Foster with 85 yards, and they've been limiting the Chicago rushing game. Forte only 18 yards, and that's the one significant difference. Campbell's been in 3 games this season and has thrown 1 pass. And here goes Forte, and a good start for Chicago here as they pick up a first down as he chugs his way out to the 39-yard line. Only the 5th first down of the night for the Bears.
Well, the one thing that the Bears are getting now, they're getting some movement on these double teams inside. This was the plan coming in, and now maybe because Jason Campbell is playing quarterback, who's only thrown 1 pass all season, they get back to what this game probably called for from the beginning. Big guys, they felt like they were bigger and stronger on their offensive line, and they're getting after it now.
380 from the 38-yard line. 380. Paul Forte's number again, and this time it is Brady James, the longtime Dallas Cowboy who played there when Wade Phillips was the head coach, who stops him.
Well, now because you have 2 tight ends in the game and a fullback, you end up with only 3 defensive backs on the field. So basically Wade Phillips saying, all right, Jason Campbell, you want to throw it, there you go. I'm going to take one of my DBs off the field, but I'm not going to let you just turn around and hand the ball off to Matt Forte and beat me. Back to 4 DBs now.
340. And on 2nd and 9, Campbell's second pass of the season is to Marshall on the outside, but Joseph is right there. And again, that field, which is tough under any conditions, particularly tough tonight, and particularly on the outside.
Al, I've seen a lot of games here, and it looks like they resawed the inside part of the field, but this outside part, when it gets wet, watch Brandon Marshall try and make a cut here. You see it all the time. I've seen about 4 guys fall down already in this game, and you just wonder at some point, you wonder at some point, is a slip and fall by a defensive back going to end up deciding this game?
That's your vegetable garden, isn't it?
No, you want no part of it.
You bet. 3rd and 6, and Campbell throws, and that is Brandon Marshall, who gets free down the left side for a big gain on the first down at the 41-yard line of the Texans.
It's a good move that time by Brandon Marshall. He's been running a lot of slants. He's going to sell it on Joseph this time. Watch him fake in and then back outside, and Quentin Demps can't get there. One of the big matchups in this game, Gabe Karimi against his old college teammate. And I tell you, Gabe Karimi has come back in a big way this game after a poor performance last week.
Gain of 18. Good opening drive for the Bears. Down by a touchdown. Forte. Nothing. 2nd and long.
Well, that was one of the few times that they didn't get in behind that double team. I tell you, the double team, though, by Gabe Karimi and Lance Lewis is getting big movement. They're moving the defensive tackles a good 4 or 5 yards backwards. That time they just didn't catch up with the scraping linebacker, but they are getting movement from those 2 guys on the right side.
2nd and 10, play fake, pressure put on, pass has gotten away, but for a very minimal gain, if any. Matt Spade making the catch, and Dobbins with the tackle.
You just have to love the job that Tim Dobbins has done coming in, a special teams captain, a guy that they really didn't expect to play much linebacker, and then Brian Cushing got hurt, who was such a superstar, a great coverage linebacker. Daryl Sharpton was supposed to be the guy that was going to take over for D'Amico Ryans, and yet here it is, Tim Dobbins, who's playing on a team with 1 loss, and he's a big reason why.
Special teams captain when the season started, of course, with Cushing out, a different role. 3rd down and 10. And over the middle, it's a short pass. It's Marshall who escapes for the moment, and then he picks up about 4 extra yards, but he's still 5 yards shy of the first down. So the Bears, of course, in the offseason, priority 1 was to get a big-time wide receiver. They did. And then other priorities included getting that backup quarterback, and they did that in Campbell. But here is Marshall right now, who Cutler was thrilled to be reunited with. 21 grabs in a single game, the most catches in NFL history when he was playing with Denver.
Brandon Marshall, when he was in Denver, was one of those guys they didn't know if he was going to come to practice, he was going to play hard or not, and now he gets here and say he's one of the hardest workers around.
Modless putting backspin on that punt, and it will be downed by Weems at the 3-yard line. So that will back Houston up, but the Texans have the lead early in the third in Chicago.
The Texans' one touchdown drive of the first half came when they got their stretch play going. The Bears were trying to crash their defensive end down inside. Arian Foster took advantage, bounced a couple of them to the outside, got a few good runs. The Bears then made the adjustment and sent their end outside. And Justin Forsett adjusted back inside, a great block by Chris Myers. And that was how they marched it down the field for their only touchdown.
And let's see how the second half chess game develops. Starting from the 3-yard line. And Schaub has to get rid of it, and it's incomplete because he was chased by Tim Jennings coming in on the corner blitz. Rain coming down a little bit harder now. 2nd down and 10.
Tim Jennings having a big night here coming up. Oh, sorry about that. Coming all the way across this way here. Chase that thing all the way across the field. And of course, anytime you're throwing out of your own end zone, be careful. Any kind of holding call, anything like that in the end zone is a safety.
Jennings 2 picks in the game, 8 for the season to lead the league, 2nd and 10. And trying to get some breathing room, but Urlacher says to Arian Foster. It might even be a loss of 1. Going to be 3rd and long. Let's go to Michelle.
Gary Kubiak told me at halftime, Al, that Matt Schaub, the 49 yards pass and 2 interceptions in the first half were due to the brutal weather conditions. And while he preferred to be balanced, they are going to rely more on Arian Foster here in the second half. But he said, hey, we do have to make some plays in the passing game.
All right, Michelle, and the weather's going to get worse. Just look at the radar. There's a lot of rain, and the temperature's going to drop. This is about as good as it's going to be probably for the rest of the game. 3rd and 11. And through the middle goes Foster, and they're able to stop him at the 7-yard line. So they do give some room to Donnie Jones for his forthcoming punt.
Just remember that prior drive by the Bears. Jason Campbell comes in the game. They get a couple of nice runs from Matt Forte. They take it about 30-40 yards, punt it down to the 2-yard line. Now the field position very much in the Bears' favor. This is the way they've won games. And a lot of it has to do with guys like Devin Hester returning kicks and special teams.
Seen a couple of high snaps from John Weeks, but not this time. It's perfect. And Jones sends a beauty to the 36-yard line. Here's Hester looking for room, but not under these conditions. Casey is there to knock him out of bounds. And so Campbell will take over with 7:55 left in the third. 10-3 Texans. For weeks, the pressure has been building. Wednesday on an all-new Chicago Fire. Finally ready to explode. Chicago Fire Wednesday here on NBC. And there's a look at the set. They do a lot of the shooting right here in the Windy City. Jesse Spencer, Taylor Kinney, a couple of stars from Chicago Fire in the stands here tonight, watching the Bears trying to climb back with backup quarterback Campbell, who will have to play the rest of the way because Cutler was diagnosed with a concussion. That's Forte for a gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
How about Wade Phillips' defense? We've been talking about the Bears a lot. This Texans defense, number 1 in 3rd down conversions, number 1 in 3 and outs. Only allowed 1 80-yard drive all season, only allowed 1 20-yard run all season. And until they can make some plays down the field, they are going to play tough against this running game. They are all stacked up there now.
A 2nd and 9, only screen pass, but that hits the ground, incomplete. Marshall was there, the intended receiver. It'll be 3rd and 9 for the Bears.
One of the problems the Bears have had all season long, I was talking to Mike Tice about it, they are last in the NFL on first down production. They have just been in too many of these 2nd and 10s and 3rd and 10s. And boy, I don't care who you are, especially up front with an offensive line that's still sort of developing and finding themselves. This is a tough spot. Now here comes J.J. Watt, Hunter Barrow, and all these guys.
3rd and 9 in a steady rain. Campbell flushed out and dives forward to the 45-yard line, but they'll have to punt. That's Tim Dobbins making the tackle. It'll be 4th and 4.
Right over here, Matt Forte is going to help on the outside, which is going to allow Karimi to come back and help on J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt, notorious not only for getting sacks, but for getting his hands up and knocking balls down. Brandon Marshall, see, I know I'm covered. Just throw it straight up in the air. I promise you I'll go get it.
Now Podless's 3rd punt of the game. Smart making a fair catch at the 15-yard line. And Schaub will lead the Texan offense back on the field with 6:38 left in the 3rd. Sunday night is football night. From Chicago, we take our act to Pittsburgh. Next week, it's Baltimore and Pittsburgh. It's the Ravens and the Steelers. Football night gets us started at 7 Eastern time. And the Ravens and the Steelers, of course, have become one of the great rivalries in the NFL. Next edition next Sunday night on NBC. This drive starts with an Arian Foster pickup of about a yard. 2nd down. Matt Schaub. You know, you think about that 2004 draft, and you know about Eli Manning, and you know about Phillip Rivers, and you know about Ben Roethlisberger. Well, Schaub was also picked in that draft, and he was going to back up Michael Vick in Atlanta, and that's how he started. And then he got the trade to Houston, and now at the age of 31, led the NFL in passing yardage in 09. Got him into playoff position last year and then broke his foot, so he was on the sidelines during the playoffs. On 2nd and 9, the pass is behind Andre Johnson. It'll be 3rd down and 9, but he's about as good a ball handler as you'll ever see, Chris.
Yeah, and the interesting part about him is he's not a runner at all. He's had 1 rush for positive yards this year for 2 yards. And yet when you look at his numbers outside the pocket, they're remarkable. You look at his numbers after contact, when you think maybe a Mike Vick or a scrambler kind of guy might have the best numbers, this guy has been sensational. So while he is not a guy that is going to move around and run a lot, he does find ways to make things work in that pocket.
Big at 6'5" and 240, played his college football at Virginia. And that pass is caught, but not for a 1st down, because Hayden is right there to tackle Kevin Walker. So it'll be 4th down. And the Texans will punt again.
I tell you, Kelvin Hayden's come in and won this nickelback job. There's been a good competition there with DJ Moore. But Kelvin Hayden, the former Colt, along with Tim Jennings, the former Colt, have come over here and made a big difference in this Bears secondary.
Ronnie Jones, who got off a beauty from his own end zone a couple of minutes ago. And this time, that kick is off the side of his foot. And Chicago's going to be set up at the 48-yard line. And that is only a 28-yard boot by Donnie Jones. So Chicago near midfield with the football. Great thing they do here in Chicago at every game. They honor a veteran. And there is Lieutenant Robert Fash Sr. being honored on Veterans Day. He's 92, naval aviator, veteran of World War II, flew 58 combat missions in the Pacific in 1944, shot down 6 enemy planes, got a tremendous ovation, and there in Afghanistan, they are saluting from far away one Robert Fash Sr.
Boy, oh boy, aren't many of those treasures left, are there, from World War II, the greatest generation?
A great tribute to him, and the Bears do that, and they've done it at every home game over the last 4.5 years. Now Chicago starts this drive from the 48-yard line with Forte taking it to the midfield stripe. It'll be 2nd down and 2 with a little over 5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. One of these teams going to 8-1 when this one's done.
JJ right over here, they're just trying to get the double team going, and they're actually doing a good job on that. The problem is Wade Phillips keeps playing only 3 defensive backs, so there's an extra linebacker in there that they have to block. So Lovey at some point is probably going to have to start throwing the ball on 1st down because that's the opportunity.
2nd and 8 now out of the gun, and you got whistles before the action commences. Gene Steratore will make the call here.
False start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, the Bears have done a pretty good job on Watt tonight because we haven't mentioned his name all that much. He's had a tremendous season. He grew up in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, which is less than 2 hours from here, just outside of Milwaukee. Talked to him about Soldier Field. Said, "Did you ever come to a Bears game?" "Nope." "You didn't go to any football games?" "Nope." Said, "This will be the first time I've ever set foot at Soldier Field."
Yeah, I'd start throwing the ball to Matt Forte. That's their best shot.
That's 2nd and 13. They're going to go deep for Marshall, and he makes the catch at the 10-yard line. A beautiful pass. Coverage was pretty tight, and it's 45 yards.
Brandon Marshall, not a bad option either. Jonathan Joseph on the outside. Marshall, not a real speedster, but he does this beautifully. He goes up and gets the ball. How many times this year have you seen it as a Bears fan? The Bears doing absolutely nothing, can't get it going. And then in the second half of games, it's Brandon Marshall who just makes a play.
Ball right at the 10, thus a 1st and goal. And on the ground, room for Forte, who gets about half the distance. 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line.
We were talking to Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall both, and Brandon was really frustrated early in the year because he was getting doubled a lot of 2 safety looks, and Jay Cutler just kept saying, be patient, be patient. Then that defense would make a play, and they'd get some single coverage, and it seems like the second half is when his numbers really start to take off.
2nd and goal, raining about as far as it has at any point. Forte the back. Forte the ball carrier, and he'll get taken down at the 5-yard line. That's J.J. Watt right there, big number 99, setting up a 3rd and goal.
It's just so tough to contain that big guy. His quickness is just overwhelming. He just jumped around Gabe Karimi on that one. I've seen him do this on some plays. You know, it looks like you're going to have to go inside to beat him, and he jumps all the way around the outside and still beats you the ball carrier.
3rd and goal. Bears trying to tie the game. Houston trying to limit them to a field goal attempt. Campbell rolling with it, throwing on the run, and nobody is open. Earl Bennett was there, but he was well covered, and thus on 4th down, in comes Robbie Gould and company.
There's Brandon Marshall right there in the middle. They've got it overloaded. Bennett's completely covered. Marshall's completely covered. Forte had to stay in and help block. Just no other options for Jason Campbell. So despite giving up the one big play, Wade Phillips' defense will do their job again and hold.
24-yard attempt for Gould. And Marshall's 45-yard reception sets up a 3-pointer to make it a 4-point game with 1:55 left in the 3rd in Chicago. Standings right now in the NFC North, Chicago 7-1, so they go to 8-1 or 7-2. Green Bay off today. They play Detroit next week. Minnesota beat Detroit today. And then in the AFC South, look at this. I mean, Houston at 7-1. You think they're going to run away with everything? But the Colts are 6-3. Tennessee wins today. And Houston and Indianapolis have not met yet, meaning they've got 2 games to face each other at the end of the season. 2 out of the last 3.
Now the Green Bay Packers beat both of these teams, you know, and they're sitting there at 6-3. But this season won't be decided without the Green Bay Packers having a little say-so, and they've got a few injuries to deal with now. Clay Matthews with a hamstring had to leave the game the other day, and they've got a few issues. So do the Texans on offense. 2 3-and-outs to start the second half. They need to get a little something going.
Well, Green Bay got it rolling in Houston on Sunday night about a month ago. Aaron Rodgers walked in and he said, "Hey, outside the sky is falling, inside we're just fine." And he went out and threw 6 touchdown passes, and off they've gone. Here's Keyshawn Martin with a big-time run back. And Martin with a flag down for the moment has taken it to the 46-yard line of Chicago. And you see a flag on a return. 99 and 44 100% of the time. It's a block in the back or a hold.
Boy, this has
return
been
team.
Such an issue for the Texans this year. They are the worst team as far as field position when it comes to kickoff returns.
During the return, holding, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down, Houston.
And Sunday Night Football from Chicago being brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes to save you 15% on car insurance. By Sears Home Appliances and the Top 10 Advantage. By Miller Lite, not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Toyota Care, caring for you and your car. And yesterday, this was the scene of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Plaza downtown Chicago. The city commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. Rod Marinelli, the great defensive coordinator of the Bears, served in Vietnam. From the 11 now, Shaw will hand the ball to Foster, and he cannot get out of the backfield. And the crowd now, as loud as it's been tonight, the Bears haven't given him that much to cheer about, but they know the importance as this game winds down to the final 16 and a half minutes.
Well, we're starting to see Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher beat the Texans to the punch on this play. Briggs goes and cuts it off, and Urlacher comes in behind and cleans it up. Those two guys quite likely will be visiting each other in the Hall of Fame.
They played 125 games together, and Shaw will throw, and wide open is Kevin Walter, who makes the catch and gives them a lot of breathing room, tackled by Chris Conti. That's a gain of 23 yards.
Now this time it's Tim Jennings who's going to slip and fall outside those numbers again. It's just a treacherous area. You drive them off and make a cut, and you just wonder, because as defensive backs, if you fall down, it's a touchdown. So they have to play off, and that time able to take advantage.
Only 6 passes caught by wideouts, 4 by Johnson. That's the second for Walter. First down at the 32, final half minute of the period. And Foster to the outside and able to break an ankle tackle and pick up about 8 yards before he's forced out by Major Wright.
This is a staple play for Houston, this double crackback coming in here on the outside. They end up pulling the tackle, Derek Newton, out in front of it, and it seems like it goes for about 10 yards every single time they run that play. They put the outside tight end in motion, bring him down, and it has worked consistently for them.
And the Texans will let the clock run out. So we'll go to the fourth quarter. The score is Houston 10, Chicago 6. Sunday Night Football from Chicago back after these messages. Aerial coverage from the beautiful city of Chicago, brought to you by Geico. And again, we taped that on a Friday night when it was clear. A plane grounded tonight. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya sold the field. 15 regulation minutes remaining. It's 2nd and 3 from the 39-yard line for the Houston Texans. And going nowhere and stacked up at the line of scrimmage. And Chicago doing a good job on Foster after he had a great first half, and they bottled him up in the second. Collins making the stop.
One of the guys that's right inside right there is Nate Collins. And he's a young man that comes in, but last week when I was watching the tape, I kept going, who is number 93, this Nate Collins? And he's a guy that's filling in for Matt Twina and is getting some snaps, but more and more now, he's impressing the likes of Brian Urlacher. He says, hey, you tell him to get in the gap, that guy gets in the gap, and he's not moving.
Third year in the league, picked him up from Jacksonville in the offseason. And with the play clock about to expire, Schaub has to spend Houston's first timeout. So So 10-6. The weather conditions, of course, playing a very big part in the game. 6 turnovers in the game. But these two teams, you know, you can always say it's a Super Bowl preview. Who knows? There's too much to go between now and then. Each of these teams 7-1. You look at Houston, though. They win this game. And as you go down the stretch, they've already defeated Baltimore, so they would own the tiebreak over them, and Denver as well. So they're in good shape in their conference.
Well, the thing that I like to see is the way they play defense. Because if you can play defense, you're going to be in games. And for Houston to come on the road in this kind of environment, the rain, the wind, the cold, and all that, if they could win this kind of game, you certainly would feel a lot better about them going forward.
This is a team, as we said at the top, that plays most of its games with the roof closed at Reliant Stadium. 3rd and 4, and Schaub will get buried at the 30-yard line, and that will be the first sack of the game for either team. Henry Melton among those in there.
Yeah, it's Julius Peppers and Henry Melton right in here. Two of the most athletic guys you'll see. They move them inside. Henry Melton was a punt returner at Texas. He scored 10 touchdowns as a running back, and now he's playing defensive tackle. You can imagine what it's like trying to block that big guy inside.
Now Jones making Hester move all the way over to the side, but not much distance on that, and it takes a Chicago bounce back to the 38-yard line, so not a good pick there by Jones. Only 31 yards. If you're just picking us up, Jay Cutler sustained a concussion at the end of the first half, so he is done. Campbell is now the quarterback. Here was the play that did Jay in, the shot that resulted in a penalty by Tim Dobbins. Cutler was able to finish the half, but they looked at him at halftime, and that was the end of his night. Michael Bush is now the running back as we start this series from the 38-yard line. And Campbell will throw, and that's caught at the 41, and then Marshall is able to spin away with some nice moves and is close to a first down, tackled by Glover Quinn.
All you gotta do is just get that big guy the ball. And I love what Lovie Smith said about Brandon Marshall. He said the Chicago Bears deserve to have a receiver like that. In other words, meaning a big, tough, physical, strong, just going to overwhelm guys going up for the ball. That's a Chicago Bears receiver.
2nd and inches. And now this is Bush. And Michael Bush to the 33-yard line. So Bush, another guy from Oakland, Campbell from Oakland, the two backups, and that results in a 20-yard gain.
There's the double team we've been talking about, and then it's Evan Rodriguez coming through and cleaning up on Brady James, but that was the same play that he fumbled on earlier when he picked up a first down. This time hangs on.
Out of the 33-yard line. Bush again angles his way just past the 30-yard line. Stopped there by Mitchell. Going to set up a 2nd down and 6 for the Bears.
Same exact play. Double team here. Fullback's going to block there. Same play. Until you stop it, you're going to keep seeing it. And I tell you, Michael Bush is a big guy. He was the leading rusher for the Oakland Raiders a year ago, almost 1,000 yards, and when he gets going downhill at you, you know it.
2nd and 6. And Campbell able to get it away, and that pass is incomplete. And then Joseph almost got it off the deflection. Been a tale of two halves here. Houston, the big advantage statistically in the first half. Here in the second half, Chicago 129 yards and Houston 32.
Watch Connor Barwin on this one. This was a guy who was one of those workout freaks. His vertical jump, all his speed stuff at the combine just blew everybody away. Came in, was the leading sacker for Houston last year, sort of taking over for Mario Williams. Almost made that one.
3rd and 6 from the 30. Blitz coming. Campbell gets it away, and it's incomplete. Marshall is there. Crowd wants a flag. There is none. Jonathan Joseph with the coverage, and it's 4th down. And they're going to send in Robbie Gould.
Jonathan Joseph said, "Seen enough of this." Tried to push me off. He grabbed him back. This grab looked like the back of his collar and yanked him right back to him and made the play. He said, "All right, you guys aren't going to call anything. I'm going to start playing just like Brandon Marshall is."
Robbie Gould, despite these conditions, made a 51-yarder earlier. Also from 24, this one from 48 to try to make it a 1-point game.
Watch this punch stroke at it, too.
Right there. And that one is hooking and hits the upright. A little bit of a hook on it. Breezy, of course, here in Chicago. And it stays a 4-point game, 10-6. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Verizon. Now, more than ever, Droid does. By Walmart. Walmart has a low price guarantee backed by AdMatch. By BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. And by McDonald's, I'm loving it. Memorials around Soldier Field. From mural, waterfall, doughboy sculpture. Great setting. Just south of downtown. Schaub on 1st down throws, and the catch is made for a very minimal gain by Garrett Graham. Back up tight end again. Houston playing without its number 1 tight end tonight, Owen Daniels.
There just aren't many things that you can throw at Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs they haven't seen. J.J. Watt's pretty good himself, a guy that's making a name for himself, probably the defensive player of the year in the first half of the season. But for Matt Schaub now, they need a 1st down. They need to get something started.
Play action and incomplete. Good coverage that time, intended for Walter, and that's Jennings, who has 2 interceptions tonight, breaking it up.
I tell you, this Tim Jennings is making an impression. 8 interceptions to lead the NFL. There he is on the outside, working across to Kevin Walter, and both of these teams kind of have the same situation. They have one receiver that they want to throw to all the time and desperately need somebody else that can step up and make plays against man-to-man coverage, and so far neither team has.
On 3rd and 7, 4-man rush, pass is dropped. Would have had the 1st down. Graham at the 49-yard line can't hang on. 4th down.
Graham's going to be working against Lance Briggs, who gets there just in time. That's the 2nd time tonight Lance Briggs has been close and just unable to get there. Of course, Owen Daniels not there and probably would have had that one.
Now, Donnie Jones, whose last 2 punts have been clunkers, with a line drive to Hester at the 11-yard line. Hester swinging to the outside, but not on this field on this night. Tackled by Whitney Merciless at the 14. 10:41 left in the 4th quarter. For every point scored during the NFL's Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners. Join and learn more at NFL.com/salute. It's an exhibit of dog tags at the National Veterans Art Museum here in Chicago.
Kind of gives you some idea of the number of people that have served this country, doesn't it?
You bet. Look at something like that for sure. On the 14-yard line, they begin this drive with a forte game of about 4.
Well, here's what the Bears have done really well on offense, and it hasn't been a lot, but the 2 guys inside, Karimi and Lewis, with their double team, and Evan Rodriguez coming in there as a fullback and cleaning up. But that has been their strength, and that was what they thought they might be able to do in this game. It's been effective. You got to stay with it. The problem is you have one bad play in that sequence, then you got to throw the ball, and that's when it really hasn't been working out so well.
Tale of 2 halves in total yardage and rushing yardage. 10 minutes to play on 2nd down and 5. And Campbell to Marshall. And Marshall with a flag down. Close to a 1st down, flag down in the offensive backfield behind the quarterback. Gene Steratore indicates a hold. Looks over to the Chicago bench.
Offense number 62. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. Replay second down.
Tyler Rochelle is the guard holding.
Antonio Smith's going to make a little inside move here. And you'll see Tyler Rochelle has to grab hold and was caught. But here we go again. We were talking about they had a good run on first down, complete a pass on second, but now you're backed up. And now you have to be careful because Wade Phillips gets to open the playbook a little bit at this point and probably comes after your quarterback.
Houston blitzes more than any team in the league. No sacks though tonight. Campbell checks it off underneath, and that is Matt Spaeth taking it out to the 15-yard line. That's going to make it 3rd down and 9.
Well, Gabe Karimi has really bounced back in this game. He's getting some help here from Matt Forte, but Karimi is more than holding his own. He struggled last week. Tonight, probably the field's helping him out a little bit, but that was perfect pass protection across the board. You can't blame what's happened tonight on the pass protection.
3rd and 9 as we tick down under 9 minutes. They send Forte out wide. They go 5 wide here. Forte wide left. Marshall comes out of the slot. The pass goes to Forte, and Joseph comes up from the secondary, rotating to cover him. Incomplete, not even close. 4th and 9.
I'm not sure that would have been anything anyway. It's almost like maybe the Bears are waiting on their defense to win the football game, not wanting to take many chances, but your chances are about to fade away here. 41 left.
Podlish to punt, averaging 38 yards per boot tonight, and that one not particularly good, going out of bounds at about midfield with 8:34 remaining. That punt 36 yards. How about them Fighting Irish? Coming up on NBC Saturday afternoon. Notre Dame, number 3, unbeaten, 10-0 against Wake Forest. Irish coming off their victory last night at Boston College. BCS standings: Kansas State 1, Oregon 2, and the Irish are 3. How about that after Alabama gets upset by Texas A&M yesterday? From the 47-yard line, it's a 5-yard pickup to start this drive for Arian Foster. So what do the Bears need tonight? Well, they probably need a defensive score. Since 04, Lovie Smith, a 5th of the Bears' touchdowns have been scored by the special teams or by the defense. Highest percentage in the league, and the rest of the league averages 9%.
What was the number on Lovie Smith? Like 17 more takeaways than any other team in the league since he's taken over as the coach of the Bears. And you'd think weather like this would be a perfect game for them, but they just couldn't get anything going with their offense so far.
2nd down and 5. Houston's got nothing offensively in this half until now, as Foster takes it to the 40-yard line. A flag is down at the end of the play, and the Texans are all signaling it's going to go against Chicago.
Like a face mask on the tail end of that one from Corey Wooten.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 98. 15-yard penalty out of the end of the run. 1st down.
Exactly what it is. And that's going to put them already into field goal range.
Yeah, here comes the face mask, little wraparound. No doubt about it. On the backside, usually when you see a big run from the Texans, it's because somebody is on the ground on the backside right there. Dwayne Brown getting Henry Melton knocked off his feet. These guys are nasty. This offensive line, so you better come in ready to play and ready to protect your knees, because on the backside of those stretches, they're going after you.
Arian Foster now over 100 yards, 106 on 25 carries. Nothing here, and it's Henry Melton making the tackle.
I tell you, this Henry Melton is something. He is as athletic as any defensive tackle you'll see. We talked about he was a running back at Texas. Give you some idea what kind of athlete he was. just jumps over you, try and cut that guy, and more often than not, you just end up picking dirt out of your face mask. They have talented young guys. I think of Tommy Harris back in the day when they went to the Super Bowl, and kind of factor he was before he got hurt.
1 yard loss. 2nd and 11. Here goes Foster swinging to the outside. Flag is thrown. 2 flags, in fact, both at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, even I could see that one. Derek Newton on a hold there. They needed it too from the Bears standpoint.
Right tackle, that's going to get him back out of field goal range.
Holding, offense number 75, 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
The second-year guy from Arkansas State, Campbell and Marshall going over things on the Chicago sideline, and the clock down to 6:39 left in the 4th.
Pretty interesting time now. Against any other defense, you probably open it up and throw the ball. Against this defense, you're winning, your defense is dominating. Do you take a chance here to try and get this thing in field goal range against a Bears defense that scores more than anybody?
Exactly right. 2nd down and 21. And Schaub's going to throw it, but short, underneath to the 35-yard line. That's Foster making the catch. Urlacher making the tackle. Line of scrimmage will be the 35.
Well, they haven't done it a lot tonight, but the Bears oftentimes will end up playing man coverage and just rushing 4 and just let Urlacher roam free in the middle of the field. They did it last week in the game, and Urlacher came up with about a 40-yard pick 6 to break that game open.
3rd and 19, and Schaub is going to ask for a timeout after he takes all of the time off the play clock. And the game clock runs as well, so they take a timeout here.
30-second timeout.
And that's their 2nd. Now the Bears off to an ugly start tonight. You had Danielle Manning forcing the fumble right off the bat, and then Manning gets involved again. Let's go over Quinn involved here. Interception by Manning, and then the last turnover was Kareem Jackson with a pick. So 4 turnovers in the first half. Houston had 2, but none for either team here in the second half.
Okay, let's just talk strategy for a minute here, because I don't think the Texans are going to take a big chance here, and if they don't gain about 5 or 6 yards, they may not attempt a field goal either. They may just punt this thing down, count on their defense. The Bears would have to have a touchdown to beat them, and at least thus far we haven't seen any signs of their ability to go the length of the field against the Texans.
Absolutely. You don't try a 53-yard field goal in these conditions and give the Bears a shorter field. 3rd and 19. And that is caught and taken to the 24-yard line. So now you're in very makeable field goal range as Garrett Graham picks up some very valuable yardage, 11 yards. So instead of maybe a short punt, now you've got a field goal attempt to try to make it a 7-point game. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Shane Graham will be kicking into the wind. One thing he told me that was a concern was the field, and so he might shorten his approach a little bit, although he doesn't look like he's going to. That wind blowing across the field from the Houston sideline to the Bears, Al.
All right, Michelle, it's a 42-yard attempt. Donnie Jones is the holder. Snap's good, so is the placement, and the kick is good. So a big 11-yard gain puts them in position to make it a 7-point lead, 13-6 with 4:49 left.
I tell you, there was a significant part of that last play too. Brian Urlacher had a chance to tackle Garrett Graham for about a 5-yard gain. He let him slip away and pick up another 6 yards. That would have been a much more difficult decision to make. That Urlacher made a clean tackle on that one.
Go back and look at this. Absolutely, if he holds him to a 5 or 6 yard gain, as he could right here.
I mean, you just don't see Urlacher miss that tackle very often, and because of that, there was another 4 or 5 yards added onto it allowed for that field goal to be attempted and ultimately made, and now have to have a touchdown.
Yeah, we'll never know, but with Kubiak a 42-yarder, yeah, you send the guy out. A 47-yarder?
Probably punting.
Yeah.
You know, probably punting. But either way, they were going to have a touchdown, so here we go, and there he goes. Been a long time for Devin Hester, about the middle of last year since he's returned one for a touchdown.
Well, some wacky-looking kickoffs from Graham. Will he try to bounce it down there or go for the touchback?
Not the last one.
He's going to bounce it again. And Hester's going to take it from the 7. To the outside he comes. He starts to run out of room at the 25-yard line, and he's taken down there by Quentin Demps. 4:42 left. All right, the pulse of the game, that hit on Cutler resulted in a concussion. He was out. Matt Schaub tonight in the conditions with 95 yards. Foster, his 11th straight game with a touchdown, and it's 100 for the Texans in a row. 100 games with a touchdown. Bears 4 turnovers all in the first half. And now Chicago down by 7 with Campbell at the helm. Start this drive from the 25-yard line. Oh, he's lucky that wasn't picked. And if that one was picked, that would have been a pick 6.
First down blitz that time by Glover Quinn right off the edge here, and Jason Campbell had to get rid of it, but Danielle Manning almost took that one in, and boy, wouldn't he have loved to have done that. He's already made 2 huge plays in the game and almost ended this one.
Pass intended for Bennett. Almost every pass tonight they've thrown intended for Marshall, who's caught 7 of Chicago's 14 completions. With protection for Campbell. But then the secondary does its work, and he's forced to throw underneath, and the crowd doesn't like it. Matt Spaeth.
The protection was perfect, Al, and he missed an opportunity. He had Brandon Marshall down the field here. Kareem Jackson's going to fall down on the coverage or get knocked down, and he still had time. There was nobody around Jason Campbell. He had time to read this one out. He did not have to check this one down. They had their opportunity for the first down on that play.
Checked it down, a loss of 1. It's 3rd down and 11. Texans going with 6 defensive backs. 4-man rush. Campbell stepping up, throws, and incomplete. That's Kellen Davis going up for it, trying to make the catch, and he has been in the crosshairs of the Bluebirds now in Chicago for about a month. 4th down.
You know, it could have been a little better throw, but this is definitely one that you've got to make a play on in this part of the game. Same sort of play that they had Matt Forte open on in the first half. They didn't make that play, and they didn't make this one. When they go back and watch the tape, 2 throws down the middle, very easy completions. They miss them both, and it may end up costing them the game.
Davis comes down on the back of his helmet and needs medical attention and gets booed off the field. Now Chicago with very little tight end productivity since Greg Olsen left town. Adam Podlesh to punt now with Keyshawn Martin back. Low liner. Down to the 33-yard line with 3:35 remaining, and Schaub trying to go to work on the clock. Meanwhile, we head to Pittsburgh next week. It's become one of the great rivalries in the NFL every time the Ravens and the Steelers get together. And that's the action you'll see beginning with Football Night in America, beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern and 4 Pacific. Baltimore 7-2, routing Oakland today. Pittsburgh 5-3, coming off that win last week against the Giants last week, and they play Kansas City in Pittsburgh tomorrow night. Cincinnati with a big win over the Giants to get to 4-5. Now the Texans from the 32. Chicago has to start thinking about using its timeouts on this side of the 2-minute break as Foster gets taken down by Melton.
Henry Melton just too quick inside. I mean, he is just. See if I can pick him out of this crowd. They got about 100 defenders in here, right in here. Just going to split the gap, stay on his feet, and make the play in the backfield. Offensive linemen aren't used to having to deal with that kind of quickness and that kind of athleticism.
Interesting how coaches can go two ways here. Somebody like Tom Coughlin would love to take his timeouts on this side of the 2-minute warning, maybe at this point. But Lovie Smith's going to let those timeouts remain on the board. Meanwhile, Schaaf can take the play clock all the way down. Here goes Foster, and Foster gets taken down to the 30-yard line, and now Chicago will spend the first of its timeouts.
You just wonder if maybe in the back of his mind, with the fact that Jason Campbell is in there and maybe he hasn't had the kind of experience in practice with that 2-minute offense that Jay Cutler would have. He wants to preserve at least one for when they get the ball back, assuming they do.
Well, they still have 2 plus the 2-minute warning, so imperative to make the stop here with 3rd and 13 upcoming.
Hey, if the Texans come in here and play fair football, and that's what this has been, ugly, rainy, nasty weather, playoff feeling kind of football game, you come in here and can win this one against the 7-1 Bears, you're feeling pretty darn good about yourself flying home.
Yeah, you're flying home to meet Jacksonville next Sunday. Bears will have to go to San Francisco next Monday. 3rd and 13. Give it to Foster, and if nothing else, they'll make Chicago use another timeout. And so they have 1 plus the 2-minute warning, and they'll get the ball back after a punt.
Julius Peppers and Blaine Brown going at it all night here. Julius Peppers just about as athletic as anybody you'll see playing that defensive end position. Jared Allen, there's Marcus Ware, the only 2 guys ahead of him on the sack list since he's come in, and that's an all-around end, though.
All right, so Hester is back. The Bears rushing 6 guys, but trying to set up a return if they can. That's not going to happen, but it's not a very good kick either, because they're going to spot that one out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Only a 32-yard kick with 2:35 left, 1 timeout, and the 2-minute warning as Campbell goes to work. Tonight, they've thrown to Marshall a dozen times. And you add up everybody else, and it comes out to 8 plus 6 is 14.
That's the guy they need to go back to. The one place there's been a hole on this defense is right down the middle. They just missed an opportunity to get the ball to Kellen Davis. They missed one to Matt Forte. You're getting those split safeties on the back end. The one vulnerable spot they've had tonight has been right between the hashes.
Add 3 more on that. The 17 to the other guys. And 12 to Marshall. 1st and 10 from the 38. Swing it to Forte, and he'll get taken down immediately by Barwin, and he can't get out of bounds either.
Well, Connor Barwin is just going to follow him everywhere, which he is. Got to take your shot. Now it's to that point in the game. You had Earl Bennett right down the seam there with a chance.
2nd and 12. And to the outside, and that's going to be with a flag down, caught by Hester to the 42. Regardless of the penalty call here, we're at the 2-minute warning after the announcement by Sterator.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Gabe Karimi.
And this is the 2-minute warning.
Setting up a second and 23 when we come back to rainy Chicago as the Texans up 13-6. Right after the game, it's the Wendy's post-game report. Michelle on the field with the stars of the game. Bob, Tony, and Mike break it down, look at league news as well, and we'll look ahead to next week's game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. It is second and 23 after the holding call. Four-man rush. Campbell checks it off underneath. Short gain caught by Kyle Adams. So it's going to be 3rd and 16 now. Bears have one timeout. And obviously in a situation where they go for it on 4th down.
Got to take your shots eventually.
And they go to Marshall over the middle. Marshall trying to spring free around the outside. He'll go down at the 40. So it comes down to this for Chicago. It's going to be 4th down and 8. Campbell without the huddle. He's got Marshall going to the left side. He's got Hester to the right side. He's got Bennett in the slot to the right. Pressure seconds ticking off. Down to a minute. And the pass intended for Forte is incomplete. Surrounded by 4 white shirts. All the Bears throw their hands up saying, "Where's the call?" And there is none. And with a minute to go, Wade Phillips starts to get some high fives because the Texans are going to go to 8-1.
Connor Barwin's going to pick this up, coming all the way across the field here. A little contact there, but it was initiated as much by Forte as it was Barwin. No call. Not a great night offensively for the Chicago Bears, and for Wade Phillips, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All we want to say about the Bears defense, it was Wade Phillips' defense tonight that got it done.
He has just done a magnificent job coming over. Gary Kubiak brought him in the 2011 season after the Texans had huge problems defensively. He's revamped it as well. Remember, they got rid of guys like Mario Williams and D'Amico Ryans, and he loses Cushing, and he comes into Chicago. He limits the Bears to a pair of field goals. They go home to meet Jacksonville next week. And if the season ended today, as the saying goes, the road to the Super Bowl on the AFC side would go through Houston.
I tell you, for big question for the Chicago Bears for next week, will Jay Cutler be around? Because the backup quarterback thing for the Bears is just not working out. Caleb Haney and now Jason Campbell not getting production if Jay Cutler's not in there.
Only thing that works to their benefit is they get the extra day since they've got the Monday night game next week in San Francisco. So this one is over. Not a work of art, but it didn't figure to be under these conditions with the rain and the wind and all of the rest. And the Texans go home with a win, 13-6 with the Wendy's postgame report.